So we had some help and we decided to just go alone so I don't have to go through this whole mine thing over and over again. We can just fast forward through this. And we just go right over and over. This is new. See how he reacts to this when he's going solo. No, it's just the same again. Just, yeah. It's the same again. Oh, there we go. And here we go. It goes mad again. That's perfect. Oh, I'm so happy I don't have to do all of that again. So, where are we now? Where do we want to go? Get the wire for Rihanna at the clubhouse. I mean, sure, let's do that. Pretty sure I've done that already. Okay, fine. Deal. But you must know that... Yeah, of course. I had not picked this for her before. Wait here. Saying that, I went back into the club's quarters. Electronic was building something with rapt attention. And it was the wire she wanted. So what's this? By the way, can you spare me the coil? What do you need it for? Probably I had to think about a reason beforehand. I just need it. But we can't do without it as well. Do you? Well, never mind then. You just can't force him to give it to me, right? I'll go then. And so, have you got it? No. That's your own fault then. Do you need this wire at all? Did you get credit for trying? What? I was surprised. Lisa would tell everything anyway. Juliana laughed. She's really angry with you. I bet, I muttered quietly. Okay, see ya. She waved at me and ran away. Here I am in a stupid situation once again. No big deal. It's not the first time. Suddenly my hunger returned again. Boom. And let's go with Slavia, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm guessing that I tried my best. Thanks to Girl's help, sure. With the flower at the library, right? Stay on guard. Try to snatch? Nope, stay on guard. Oh, she's happy with us. And boom! Zooming through all this. Oh, here we go. Let's try and find out what they're arguing about. And do Lisa's route. Oh, I can't fast forward through this. Okay. Only Elisa and Lena stood out. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Elisa to be arguing with someone like that. But hearing Lena talk in a raised voice... Colgate in Untap is asking or saying, I don't know much about cooking. Is substituting beer for yeast a real thing? Probably. I know real might be an overstatement, but actually, now that you're asking, I'm quite curious. Who would assume that it works a little bit? Substitute beer. I mean, you can bake bread without yeast. The 7 best brewers yeast substitutes. Alcohol without yeast. Beer? No, when it's bread, we're baking bread. Here we go. Beer bread. Self-rising flour. So, since it's saying self-rising flour, probably not. Now I'm actually quite curious. I want to do. I've done bread without yeast before. Can you just? There you go. Oh man, I don't want to see all these commercials. So, I mean, it is a doable thing. I mean, there is a lot of sugar in beer as well, I think. So you get sugar and a little fluff from it, I guess. It's very interesting. But hearing Lena in a raised voice, I came closer silently, trying to understand what was going on. No, you listen to me. Think whatever you want. I've said everything. It looks serious. I tried as hard as I could not to attract any attention. And looks like I'm just standing here with no intention of listening in on them. There's nothing to think about. Everything is as clear as day. Don't try to wind me around your little finger like that. I know you too well. Why, of course you know everything. Then why don't you tell him yourself? Lena was getting angry. That alone was really weird, even considering that I didn't know what they were arguing about. That's none of your business. Lisa snorted, turned around, and her eyes met mine. Second later, Lena gave me a look as well. The girl stood there in confusion for some time. You're eavesdropping? Me? Oh, no. I was just like passing by, put on the best smile I had, but it didn't seem to help much. By the way, today he was peeping at me. Now we're saying this again. Elisa gave him a malicious smile. Lena looked at me questioningly. First of all, why would she believe this devious as Fox's stories? I didn't peep. You know quite well that it was an accident. Juliana should be the one to blame. Sure it was. Tell that to the cops. Seems like my excuse was not working. Wait, the cops? So, wait, that logic doesn't make any sense. They were outdoors, right? They were outdoors. Did you like my boobs? Of course. A shiver ran up my spine. Is that true? Lena looked at me imploringly. Well, you see, it was an accident. I didn't see anything there. You didn't? Well, I can show you again. Lisa cried in anger. Why is she angry? I didn't know what to say. You see, I told you. No. Lena started to mumble and rushed away a moment later. Also, in this end, she's gonna kill herself again. We're just not gonna know about it. That's fucked up. Or maybe not. No, it was after we rejected her. Well, after she felt like we rejected her again, even though we didn't. Wait, what happened? I shouted after her. See what you did? That girl is upset now. She gave a spiteful smile. First of all, it wasn't me who upset her. Second, I don't have any idea what you two were arguing about. I was running out of patience. Why should I tell you? Seems like she thought that our talk was over and was about to leave. I grabbed her hand abruptly. Lisa glanced at me in fear, but didn't say anything. I was angry at that moment, really angry. First, I was wildly enraged that Lena was upset because of me, even though I was actually kind of guilty. Second, I was enraged by Elisa's insolence. Third, I was so tired that I was about to lose my temper at the smallest thing. Happy now? I hissed, pointing into the darkness where Lena had run off. You only seem to have the guts to bomb memorials and hurt innocent girls. She looked frightened, saddened, and confused at the same time. She herself could hurt anyone. You just don't know her. The only truth here is that I don't know her too well, but I'm absolutely positive that she wouldn't hurt anyone. That's your job. We stood in silence for some time. I held Elisa's hand and I didn't know what to do next. The solution dawned upon me all by itself. You have to go and apologize. Why the hell should I? Elisa tried to act arrogant as always, but it wasn't going to work this time. Because I said so. I refused to hear any objections and dragged her to the side of the bonfire. Olga, I'm sorry, we have some urgent business to deal with, so we have to leave early. The guidance officer tried to object, but I didn't listen and headed after Lena, pulling Elisa along with me. After some time, I released her hand. Any objections? All the pride and arrogance had left Elisa's face long ago. If you want me to come with you, I will, but I have nothing to apologize for. I told the truth. We'll see about that then. I cut her short. We had been walking in silence until we entered the camp. We came to the square and I asked Elisa, where do we go next? How should I know? She wonders. And who said that they know Lena well? Was it me? Elisa hesitated. Well, she could be at the island. She often goes there when she wants to be alone. Excellent. We headed to the pier. Night came down on the camp while I searched for paddles and pottered around with the ropes. One boat was actually missing. Okay, today is our lucky day. You get to do several killer exercises with that build-up. Your bicep, triceps, and other arm muscles. I said sarcastically. You're serious? Elisa cast a fearful glance at me. Well, perhaps that was a little bit too rough, even for her. Alright, I won't make you row, of course. So sexist. So sexist. Man has to do the heavy lifting, eh? Screw you. That hardly sounded confident. Swinging the paddles appeared to be much harder this time. Oh. Look at that, the last time it was much easier. The Lena ending, I mean. Well, that's not surprising considering that today I must have already filled my annual rowing quota, indeed. I stopped in the middle of the river to catch my breath. The camp was covered by night. A trivial and ordinary night. It was one of those nights when the dark sky, stars, and the crescent moon don't make you feel anything special. Chirping crickets and twittering birds sound like you're doing a dull routine job rather than performing an otherwise exciting nocturne. I was staring into the darkness, trying to make out the shadowy island. How did you get to know her? Lisa shivered a little. We grew up together, she answered slowly after some hesitation. And ended up in the same pioneer camp. What a fabulous coincidence. All these questions, mysteries, and fears that had been so well hidden so far suddenly spawned in my head. Damn, I could just throw her out of the boat and drown her right here and now. What the fuck, dude? That's fucked up. She's a good swimmer, though, so... Oh, I can demand answer. Oh, he can threaten her. Although it could be dangerous unless I'm sure that I know what I'm doing. Oh man, that's so stupid. Didn't he notice she just talked about the outside world? Could just continue asking questions. But still, I thought that this time I was playing with the white pieces, so I could make the first move, alright? Not just parry the blows of the opponent. So, what kind of camp is this? Elisa stared at me blankly. Where are we? Why am I here? He kept silent. Answer me, I shouted. Hey, what's wrong with you? If you want me to apologize to Lena, I will. That's when I realized how stupid I was acting, to say the least. She could simply be uninvolved in all that stuff. And what's more, one can't lie that convincingly. Really? You just know that? Elisa's fearful expression was yet another reason to believe her. Sorry, that was all I was able to say at the moment. Yet I wanted to keep my advantage. The last few meters were really rough. Tough? Exhausted, I got out of the boat and lay on the colder ground. Elisa stood nearby, staring at me. I thought she was about to goad me to utter some barbed witticism. But since she remained silent, I assumed she was still shocked or something. Even though it was rather dark here, it would be easier to hide my old flat than on this tiny island. Furthermore, Lena must have already heard us as we were crossing the river, so by now it's already too late to ask Elisa any more questions, even though I still had some. Listen, I looked at her but saw nothing. It was a dark night and I didn't have a cat's eyes. Well, when we find Lena, you're going to tell her you never wanted to hurt her feelings, and everything that happened in the morning was nothing but a misunderstanding, okay? My voice didn't sound as confident as it did a couple of minutes ago, but confident enough. Although Elisa said nothing, it was clear by the look on her face that she agreed. I stood up and we went off to find Lena. Her boat was tied to a snag on the far side of the island. That's very clever of her. Yes? One wouldn't see the boat from afar. I mumbled. Well, that means she's somewhere in the trees. Let's find her. I headed into the grove, but Elisa stood still. What's up? I thought we discussed everything already. It's not that, it's just that it's dark in there. I had to strain my eyes to find her face. The grove is smaller than my grandmother's daisy garden. What's there to be afraid of? Lisa didn't answer. If you want to know what I'm thinking, I would gladly just leave you here. I never know what trick you're up to. Well, she came very close to me. Let's go like this. She took my hand. I hadn't expected this outcome. My cheeks turned red hot. My breath was taken away, and I could barely say anything. The whole situation didn't favor conversation, which was probably for the best, since I doubt I would be able to say anything smart. Slowly we headed into the grove. In a couple of moments, I regained some control of myself. Come on, there's really nothing to be afraid of. We came here during the day gathering some strawberries. No big deal, just a normal birch grove. It's really nice here during the day, I added after a short pause. Elisa didn't look at me. She was staring somewhere into the distance. Banana Waffle Monkey says, since I doubt I would be able to say anything smart. Well, we know how he wants to be perceived now. Well, I mean, that's his whole character. That's nothing new. He wants to be perceived smart. He's even lying to us, and the reader. He's even lying to us, trying to look smart or clever or whatever. He's a dick, right? He's an asshole. Trying to look smart is not very out of character for him, I think. Elisa didn't look at me. She was staring somewhere into the distance. Well, it's up to you after all. A few moments later, she pointed somewhere in front of us. There she is. I peered into the darkness, but I could barely see anything. When we came closer, we saw Lena sitting beside a tree. She was crying. Why have you come here? She asked tearfully. You, she looked at Elisa but didn't finish the sentence. That moment, Elisa released my hand. Well, you see, I just wanted to apologize for being somewhat harsh and rude. Colgate in Untap is claiming that maybe he's not lying to us, but to himself. Yeah, that's fair, I guess. That's my bias towards him saying that he's lying to us. But you're right, he might be just lying to himself. I don't remember exactly, but I did get the feeling like a couple of days ago that he was lying to me rather than himself. But it's a very valid point that it might just be him lying to himself, which we have seen him do lots of times as well. Elisa interrupted me. Her voice had regained that usual arrogance of hers. Maybe it's because she didn't want to look weak in front of Lena. What a perfect apology. Not walking the walk, are you? You're clever of you to insist that I'm doing a bad thing and then do the same thing yourself. Lena switched to shouting uncontrollably. You got it all wrong. I get what I'm seeing. You see, girls, you're arguing again, and I seem to be somehow involved in all that, but I don't understand a thing. Explain it to him, Lena said to Elisa with a grin. There's nothing to explain. Well, maybe you'll let me have a try then. Whatever. She crossed her arms over her chest and turned away. Well then, Simeon. She blamed me for pursuing you. For a minute there was complete silence. Lena didn't look like explaining any further as, for me, I stood still trying to assemble the scattered pieces of the puzzle into a whole. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. It's not like that. That's not what I meant, interrupted Elisa. Of course. You've always been like this. Lena burst into tears again. Wait, how come? So, Lena likes me? And you, what about you? You're trying to convince me that it's all wrong while you're holding his hand. What, so Elisa likes me too? Oh, come on. Elisa actually liking someone? This can't be happening. It was dark in here, and that's so much like you. Always so arrogant, always trying to control others. But when it comes to yourself... Elisa didn't answer. I really felt like I had to say something to defuse the situation. Hey, wait. Perhaps we just got it all wrong. This has nothing to do with you, Elisa. Elisa's voice was oddly distant. Judging by the conversation, this has everything to do with me. Yes, it does. Ask her what she thinks of you and why she told me not to go after you. I don't think Anna was actually going after me. Right? Right? I'm telling you, once again, I heard enough of your story already. Anna shut up and ran away into the darkness. I stood nailed to the spot, unsure exactly what to do next. If I followed Lena now, what would I say when I found her? After all, I don't even understand what this is all about. My cluelessness and silly attempts to console her would only upset her more. Guess we'd better let her be alone for some time. And actually, I kind of like this though, that like he's doing an emotional decision that shines through here, that he's doing the emotional decision because in this timeline he likes Alisa more, right? So that's why he doesn't follow after Lena. And then he rationalizes it. Again, we talked about this in one of the other endings as well, that he's being super emotional and then rationalizing it. Like we humans do, thinking that we're doing logical decisions. Guess we'd better let her be alone for some time. That didn't sound very confident. Whatever, said Alisa. Without another word, Alisa headed back to the boat. Not holding hands anymore, are we? The whole way across the river to the pier was a hell of a trip. I had to stop every 10 or 20 meters to take a break. Alisa was staring at the river and didn't pay any attention to me. Well, this seems to be the first situation in the camp that's completely beyond my comprehension. Even though ultimately it's just a trivial, everyday situation. I wasn't this confused even during the all-night expedition to the old camp. After all, if you have a closer look, there isn't anything strange here at all. Lena is a very shy and perhaps even introverted person. Yet she is human and can't completely avoid normal human developments. Well, I mean, sure, there probably is a correlation between introverts and shy people. But I mean, that's not a scale. You can be introverted and not shy at all. You can be shy and extroverted as well. They're also two different things. And she is for sure introverted, we know that. I think maybe she's shy as well. Yeah, she didn't want to dance on the dance party because she was shy. So yeah, maybe from his perspective, he only knows about her shyness and not about the introverted stuff. But it can be just his ignorance about what an introverted person is, which is weird because he seems to be super introverted in himself. Considering that, her reactions fit the situation quite well. Even if I don't get the source of the quarrel, she just told you, dude. Clear as day that the girls would not behave like that if they didn't have a good reason. And as things were standing, I was that reason, yeah. And that was the strangest part of the whole situation. Hey, I'm sorry it went that way. If only I hadn't overheard your conversation. Seems like I was feeling a pathological need to excuse myself. It's not your fault at all, she said absent-mindedly. It's just that you appeared in the right place at the right time and restarted a mechanism that had stood still for a long time. I don't quite get it. Of course you don't. And actually, you shouldn't right now. You'll get it later. She cast an intense glance at me. Damn it, why does this always happen to me? Both in school and college, trouble seemed to have chosen me as its primary target. That's a bias. We all feel like that. It's all about me. It's how we feel in school. Someone blocked the classroom door with a mop. I got written a reprimand in my mark book. There was a fight, all things considered. I must have started it. Failed an exam. Well, of course that's my fault, and the teacher who hates me has nothing to do with it. Even my parents always seem to prefer blaming me rather than unfavorable circumstances, a third party's involvement, or the decrees of providence. At some point, I even started to believe that I somehow do attract trouble. Remember Murphy's Law? I like Murphy's Law. In my case, it was like, if something nasty is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. Well, that's not what it is at all. Something nasty is possible to happen. It is gonna happen to anyone. For that reason, I always try to stay out of any trouble where I could become the whipping boy. Yeah, that's a mistake, though. I did the same mistake as a kid. That's the shyness. And, like, here comes a correlation with the introverted. Well, not even introverted. That's if you're neurotic. I'm guessing he's neurotic as well, then. I'm kind of neurotic that way. And I was more as a kid. Every kid is more neurotic than they become as an adult, for sure, but this here is a mistake. It's bad for your mental health. What you should be doing is to face the trouble and learn from it. But it's not easy for a kid to know, especially if you don't. Murphy's Law happens to you and no one helps you stand up to it. Well, judging by today, I'm not really good at it. Yeah, because you didn't practice it, because you avoided it. It seems like you got an aura of some sort. You do attract attention, says Elisa. Surprised, I looked at Elisa. She was smiling. Looks like she can read my mind. Trouble mostly. Who knows? Who knows? She said dreamily and stared at the river. It's a wonderful night, isn't it? It's like any other, if you ask me. I felt used up. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Just an ordinary night, nothing special. The best moment to make our most admirable camp leader really happy. She has to know that her favorite pioneer is a nasty pervert who enjoys peeking at naked girls. I mean, I don't like nasty pervert enjoy peeking at naked girls. I mean, that's not a correlation. You need to replace these words here with boys. Oh man, I can't pronounce that word. Banana Monkey says, we are the voyeurs. Voyeurs? Voyagers. I don't know. We like to watch people. And I mean, everybody does, right? I did say it right, but I did say it 3 ways, so one of them were right. Voyeurs. Probably that one. I mean, like if he's a nasty pervert for enjoying peeking at naked, I don't like the word girls here, but you catch my drift. Then everybody's a nasty pervert. Like every single person alive. Well, perhaps not everybody. There are I've heard about this thing where people are not sexual in the least. They have no sexual desires at all, like asexual, I think they call them, where they have no desire for that at all. So not everybody, but this is a majority of people. Something snapped inside of me again. You aren't serious, are you? Why, of course I'm serious. She didn't look like she was joking at all. Well, suit yourself. Do you really think this is the best time to do that? Aren't you supposed to row? I realized that our boat was still drifting in the river. Wait, don't dodge my question. Let's get back to the camp. I'll have a moment to think it over. Getting to spend an entire night in a boat wasn't something I would aspire to, so I had to apply myself to the pounds. We barely made it to the pier. I was exhausted, both because of the rowing and because of Elisa's intent to tell Olga about this morning's incident. If I know our camp leader, her reaction will be quite predictable. So, you're actually going to visit Olga now, are you? Why not? She gave me a most roguish smile. It's night after all, she must be sleeping already. Who knows? She might as well be awake. Come on, you know full well it was a coincidence, a simple misunderstanding triggered by Juliana. No, I don't. She flung her arms up and headed to the camp. I gathered all my remaining strength, jumped up, and followed her. Again, why does he care so much about this? At first, I considered grabbing her arm, but then I realized it might not be such a good idea after everything that happened today. Banana Waffle Monkey says she's gonna hold it over his head until he snaps and just tells her to tell the counselor. Yeah. Yeah, she's done that before, holding it over his head. The question I have is, why does it work? I mean, like if I remember correctly, it was quite some time ago I read through that bit, but I'm pretty sure he snuck a peek, like it was an accident, and he got a peek, but then he looked away. Like, because he felt like he has some morals, right? And those morals were like that it's rude to stare at someone changing if they don't want it. Well, I kind of agree with that assessment. I wouldn't look in that situation. I would turn around just like he did. And I mean, even if he didn't, because he did get a peek, even if he didn't turn around or whatever, like, why does it work? Why does he care? I mean, especially since he knows what he did and he doesn't feel guilty, right? He said that over and over again. So if he doesn't feel guilty, then he probably feels guilty, but I don't know. Hold on. I trudged unenergetically along next to her. Let's talk this over. Is there anything to discuss? We silently walked along each other for some time. At least she walked slowly so that I had no trouble keeping pace with her, and I was thankful for it. Hey, is there something I can do to convince you not to tell Olga? Not sure, but well, there is this one thing. We came to the square. So, what is it? Well, stop chasing Lena, for instance. For God's sake, what makes her think I'm chasing Lena? I started to lose my temper. Why are you making up such nonsense? You started that quarrel in the forest. Because of you, we had to go to that island, and here you go again. Enough is enough. I am not chasing her. Elisa stood still, bright moonshine lighting up her face, which showed evident signs of resentment and displeasure. Like, I don't see how you look at her. How do I look at her? Like that. Like what? You know. She shifted her gaze but remained standing still. Hey, stop seeing everyone through your twisted imagination, right? If you can't stop making up nonsense stories, then at least keep them to yourself. Don't make others suffer because you and your stories. I don't care if you pick on me, but now that you got Lena involved, I really lost my temper for good, but Elisa didn't answer. Colgate in on tap says, I don't think Olga would believe even if Elisa told her. Right? That's a valid point. Like, Olga has no trust for Elisa. Olga would just say, whatever. Like, Olga has already said that, like, slapped her fingers, Elisa's fingers, for making up stories about Semyon, right? So, like, even if he cared about Olga knowing, he has the upper hand. That's a very good point. We sank into an unexpected silence that was only broken by Elisa's sparse sobs. From bad to worse, now you're crying. Have you all gone mad here? I clasped my hands in despair. I could understand why Lena was crying, but seeing Elisa cry is unthinkable to say the least. I can't even see her reasoning. At any other time, I would definitely be shocked, but at this moment, I'm just too tired for that. My mind was absolutely blank. Alright, he's super tired as well, of course. He's not grasping what's happening. To be precise, I was so heavy and full that not a single idea would have had the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts overtaking each other and causing a giant chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant desolate forest, which is only used in times of absolute necessity. We've seen this comparison before. The author really liked this comparison, so he had to shoehorn it in again. But it is a good explanation for when you're feeling super tired like that. Elisa kept silent. At least she stopped crying. If you really think it's serious, go ahead and tell Olga everything. There you go. Banana Waffle Monkey sees into the future. Hope it makes you feel better. Oh. Colgate in on tap says there are only 3 routes that don't have that comparison. That's a pretty good memory. I think I've seen 2 of those routes already. Common trope, says Banana Waffle Monkey. Yeah, but it's not quite as... It's not like he snapped. It's more like he gives up and he hoped like this. I hope it makes you feel better. If we buy that he's so tired that he can't even lie to himself, it's just like, go ahead, it makes you feel better. It's not a snap, it's more of giving up, but close. Okay, I won't do it, she said quietly and turned to me. Her tears were all gone, but her face seemed to express absolute sorrow at the world. I'm just feeling hurt. What hurt you? I asked her tiredly. It's always like that. She gets all the attention and always pushes me aside. I had a difficult understanding what she was talking about and decided to play along. Hopefully she'd leave me alone. That's not true. You do draw attention and people don't overlook you. I don't. I raised my eyes and looked at her. Her facial expression was a mixture of amazement and expectation. See? So could you... All of a sudden her voice became so tender that I flinched in astonishment. Lisa's face turned red and she hid her eyes. So, you really think that I'm as good as her? I wanted to say something like, even better, but I stopped myself. Yes, I do. It seems he didn't understand that I said it all absolutely insincerely. All right, time to sleep, Alisa suddenly yelled cheerfully. Now she was acting more like herself again. See you tomorrow. She waved her hand and ran away, sighed in relief. Well, it was over for today. All my remaining energy was wasted on a sprint to Olga's cabin. So I'm guessing that the bad ending is that she goes and tells Olga and a lot of other stuff happens. We'll see though, we'll see. There was no light, so trying not to awake the camp leader, I undressed quietly and lay down. It's still interesting. What did Alisa mean? And Lena? It's become totally unclear what's going on with them and with me, as if we got sucked into some sort of vortex which started to swirl with furious power. Triangle drama? Is that what it's called? Love triangle. Right, there we go. It's a love triangle. Except he's not involved just yet. But wait, no. Yeah, I think so. But what's going to happen next? Where will I be thrown then? Oh, day 7 now, right? Day 6. Oh, a full more day before it's time to leave. I woke up early when Olga was still asleep. I stretched and sat up in the bed. I felt surprisingly okay, although I should have slept through the day after what happened the night before. Quietly, so as not to wake up the camp leader, I took the bag with my washing up stuff and went outside. I forgot to look at the clock, but it seemed like 6 or 7 in the morning. The camp was asleep. The grass was shaking off the night dew. A light fog hung above the ground, and the sun was just beginning to break through the treetops. Not warm at all yet, like a fluorescent lamp in the house across from mine. I took a deep breath of the tasty cold air and thought that even a night owl like me can enjoy waking up this early sometimes. I do enjoy that. I'm a night owl as well, but because I've been thinking about that, the night owl in me. Why do I like the night? It's because of the quiet. Everything goes quiet. Like even the lights and stuff like that. And the morning, like this early morning when you hear all the birds, it's still kind of quiet. It's like it's a transition from the quiet of the night towards the sound of the day. But I do enjoy the cold air and the bird sounds and stuff like that. Like it's take the time to wake up properly. I like that feeling. The streets of the camp were empty, of course. See, it's still quiet, no people around. The water here has always been cold, but today it seemed like they got it from the Antarctic depths. Oh, that was so cool. I learned about that recently. I hadn't thought about it, but that was like a whole industry. Like before refrigerators, then ice moving and creation was a huge industry. It was like one of the biggest. I think the East Indian Trading Company, like one of their biggest things was just like moving ice from cold places to warm places. They had like warehouses just filled with ice, just keeping it cold and stuff like that. It was such a big industry. And now it's just completely gone. We just cool it down with electricity. So nice. Even my hands went numb from it. Finishing with my hygiene, I decided to walk around the camp a bit. Olga is asleep. Breakfast not for a while yet, so there's nothing to do. I came to the square and looked at Genda. That guy doesn't care if it's day or night. He's alert. I smiled at my successful joke and headed to the boat shed. As I walked, I hummed some song, absolutely sure I was the only one awake here. To my great surprise, I saw someone sitting at the pier, hanging her feet in the water. Elisa. I came closer and stopped, not sure what to say. Then she suddenly turned around and stared at me. Been standing here long? No. Why aren't you asleep? Why aren't you? She turned back and stared at the river again. Looks like I'm not the only one in a good mood today. At least she wasn't being sassy again. Can't sleep. Oh, I see. But yesterday, you get everything, right? What exactly? Oh, for God's sakes. My answer didn't seem to go down well. Oh, alright, I did. I lied. Alright, good. She suddenly looked straight in the eye and smiled. In that case, I have plans for you tonight, eh? May I ask what they are? You don't need to know. Well, since I'm part of them, you'll know when it's time. Can you give me a hint at least? Nope. She got up and walked towards me. A bit scared, I cleared away. Don't do anything stupid, Lisa said, moving away from the boat shed. Wonder what she meant. What are those plans? Oh, chicka, whoa, whoa. I had no wish to become part of some terrorist act against a monument or anything. Besides, I was still haunted by yesterday's talk with Lena on the island. She's probably still angry, and I never managed to explain everything to her. Although I don't even know what she would say if I had the chance. I felt guilty about everything that had happened, but I couldn't figure out exactly of what I was guilty of. The camp was starting to wake up. Breakfast was at least an hour away, but I had no desire to go back to the camp leader's cabin, so I decided to wait by the canteen. At least I'd be the first one there for once. I sat on the steps and watched the sun rising. Sometimes it's great just to watch a new day come. I was overwhelmed with complete peace and tranquility. There were no thoughts to tear up my brain as they usually do. Tear up. I learned yesterday from one of the Vsauce videos that when you cry, your nose starts running. That's not snot. It's not that it's. I've always thought that it's like your sinuses and stuff get swollen and whatnot. That's part of it for sure. But that's not it at all. It's because you're generating tears, but not all the tears run outside. That hole where they come from, like the hole like inside your eye, where they come from, that if it doesn't go all the way out, it runs back. All the tears run into the nostril, so it's tears. You're actually crying through your nose. Banana Waffle Monkey says it's called the lacrimal gland. Oh, there we go. Is there something you don't know, Banana Waffle Monkey? Oh, I kind of feel like a challenge. From the Latin. Oh my God, so amazing. He says it comes from the Latin lacrimare, which means to cry. Also, where we get the word lacrimose, I don't know that word. Lachrymose. I'm guessing it has to do with crying, though. Oh, the gland, right? The gland is further in and pushes it through these holes, but those holes then it goes further in, back in and out through the nose. Was overwhelmed with complete peace and tranquility. There were no thoughts to tear up my brain as they usually do. Banana Waffle Monkey says, gotta use my 2 semesters of Latin somewhere. Yeah, Latin would have been super useful to know. I guess like knowing Latin makes a lot of other studying become easier. Because since we're PoE nerds, we can talk about affixes and suffixes in the language. If you understand the affixes and suffixes, you understand the language better, right? I'm guessing most of them come from Latin. Wait, no, affix is the whole thing. It's prefix and suffix, right? It's all affixes, right? Yeah. Oh, I figured it out before you corrected me. It's all affixes. It's suffix and prefix. Pre is like is the affix or before. Suff? I don't know. The whole language is so. Oh, right. The whole language is affixes. The whole Latin language is affixes. Oh, there we go. Cool. Simply bathed in warm rays of the heaven's star. Nice. In any other place and circumstances, I could probably even say I was happy. Of course he's happy. Like 2 girls fighting over him? Who wouldn't be? I mean, it's sad that they're crying and being mean to each other and all that, but still, I mean, 2 women fighting over you, that's the dream, right? Like, if you play your cards right and they can get along, then I don't know. I've never had a threesome. I mean, for the memes, it sounds fun, but I don't know. Probably would be fun, but seems like a lot of work. Like, that type of feeling when suddenly you stand up and you don't know how to stand and you switch from one leg to the other leg and then the other leg and you feel uncomfortable like that. Somehow I feel I would get that feeling. Good morning, says Lena. You're up early today. Banana Waffle Monkey says, then you'll have someone to play Cursebot and Aurabot for you in PoE and make you feel like a god. Nice. Oh, support classes. Yeah, because you're the one in control since they want you, so you can have them play the Cursebot and Aurabot. Mm. Oh, that's actually a reason for. Too bad they don't like botting in. There were someone talking about programming bots in games. We were talking about it that we don't like it when it fucks up the economy, and therefore GGG has to take a harsh stand on like no botting, right? Otherwise, it would be fun to do a since Aurabot and Cursebot, like making those bots would be a good like starting difficulty for programming bots. That would be a fun Path of Exile experiment project, like programming and Path of Exile all in one. So you make a character and you have a Cursebot and an Aurabot. And so you play the one character, and then you program the other two characters to follow you around, so they all level together. And then you just switch between the. Oh no! You have 3 bots, and you switch and you play. Something like that. Fun project. Project idea. See, who needs women when you can have the computer do it for you? Just wait until the sex dolls are super look-alike real women and behave like real women. Well, no, not behave like real women. Behave like the sex slaves that men want. That's gonna be interesting. Good morning. You're early today. I looked up and saw Lena standing in front of me. She was smiling. Oh, you too. All of last night's events flashed before my eyes. Listen, if this is about yesterday, please don't. She interrupted me sharply. I don't know what came over me. It was all, just forget it. She stared at me. Lena seemed much more confident than usual. If only it was all that simple. There's nothing complicated about this. She sat down next to me. So close I felt a bit awkward, but made no attempt to move away from her. Sometimes I have disputes with Elisa. Yeah, I realize. See, but in this case it happened because of me. Who knows, she answered, lost in thought. Well, that's why, I'm embarrassed. Perhaps I really am to blame. Or rather, I'm not trying to say that I'm not to blame, but I was trying to explain myself like a 5th grader to a teacher. Okay, don't. As I said, nothing serious happened. If you think so. You should just think about how to act from now on. Oh, not again. I covered my face with my hands, clearly showing that I have absolutely no idea what was going on here, and that everything, to put it mildly, is very unpleasant for me. Could you express yourself any clearer? What for? She said evasively. Look, if I don't know what I did wrong, I can't do better. I can't decide on how to act, as you say. I think you'll understand. I would like to believe that as well, but... The canteen door suddenly flew open and Olga came out. Sitting around hungry this early, she said playfully. Good morning, said Lena merrily. She got up and headed inside. Shall we? Yeah, sure. We were not done talking, but the pioneers appeared out of nowhere and flooded the place. By the time I got my breakfast, Lena was already sitting, surrounded by Miku, Xenia, and Slavia. Sadly, there were no more free chairs at the table. Feeling down, I deliberately said hi. Not saying hi to anybody, I headed to my favorite place in the far corner of the canteen. I chewed my oatmeal. It really was chewy today, and washed it down with some cold tea, then began to watch the others. All the pioneers seemed to be here. Some were chatting, some, like Electronic and Shurik, were immersed in chewing, and some were gawping around like me. I was just about to leave, then Uliana jumped over my table with her tray heaped with food. Bon appetit, she blurted. Stealing again? I asked openly, staring at her tray. Growing body requires a lot of calories. Yeah, you really should grow up a bit, I whispered. Nice. That's a nice whisper. What? I didn't think she heard me. Oh, nothing. I headed out. Leaving so soon? She yelled at my back, disheartened. I gave no answer. I should have taken the washing up stuff back in. I don't want to carry it around all day. Banana Waffle Monkey says, this person reminds me of all these cat emotes. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Describing people like cats is nothing like what cats are actually like, though. That's quite interesting. Like, cat people with the ears and stuff, like in video games and whatnot. It is like you say, she is kind of like that, Juliana, that little brat. She's nothing like what an action that trope, that character, that I don't know what to call it. It is a cat person, but it's not like a cat. I think it's the pigtail hair. Things look like ears. Perhaps. As well as her personality, I guess. Besides, what am I going to do today? Nothing at all came to mind. I was in such a mood that it seemed like someone was going to show up and invite me on a journey. Well, that's tomorrow. I left the camp leader's cabin and paused for a moment. Then I heard a voice calling out to me. Semyon, in Slavia. Busy? No? Can you help me? Of course. I didn't want to look for answer on a wonderful day like this. A couple of dozen hours wouldn't change my situation after all. What is it? You should stop by the Cybernetics Club. I don't know why exactly. They'll tell you everything. So, I'm not helping her. I'm helping them. The unfortunate inventors again. All right. Thank you. He gave me a nice smile and ran on. So, a journey to the enemy's lair ahead of me. The lair of the evil Dr. Electronic and the diabolical Professor Shurik. I mean, they're just trying to build a sex doll, dude. That's not evil. Well, Shurik is fucking weird, I tell you. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, that's Shurik himself is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I pushed the door firmly and entered. Semyon, Electronic said a bit ominously, glancing up from some contraption he had been poking with the screwdriver. Slavia sent me. I know. And? What? The second door opened and Shurik came in. Gonna attack me with a wrench? He greeted me in the same tone Electronic had. Well, was last time I checked. He joked. So, what do you need from me? We have an important task for you. I'm listening. The nurse came by yesterday. He stopped as if he wasn't going to continue. So, I asked carefully. We have an important mission for you. You got that already? You are to deliver a package to her. Why didn't she just bring it along? Can't you do that yourself? The infirmary is right over there. I said skeptically. We can't, Electronic said, surprised. A weird couple indeed. I see. Not another heavy bag, I hope. No, nothing like that, he smiled. All right, fine, I carefully agreed. Hold on. Shurik disappeared into the door and soon came back holding something wrapped in paper. Just be careful. All right. I took the package. If the pioneers weren't passing me the key to the pearly gates, it still looked like they were at least giving me the Olympic torch. Can I go? Oh, that's a perfect stop. Can I go? Yes, I can. Because it is lunchtime. Save game. And we'll continue this tomorrow.